We look at, for example, Microsoft and Apple. Both of these companies have over $150 billion in cash on hand, not cash that is being used for R&D, cash that is just sitting in bank accounts. And I would like to point out that these two companies, the two most valuable companies in the world, were founded while the corporate tax rates were significantly higher than they are right now. So of course now, like, they're massive behemoths, it doesn't affect them. But when these companies were getting started, like, the corporate tax rates were incredibly high.
Because it didn't impact them, because they were getting started. It didn't impact them, they were getting started, like you said.
Charlie Kirk crushes a college socialist Democrat who is calling for massive tax increases in America, talking about doubling it. It is wild. Guys, it's going to be good. We're going to get right into it, and it's going to be fun. But first, do me a big favor here. Like our video and share it around so we can keep bringing you guys this great, hard-hitting content. And for those of you who have subscribed and are returning, thank you so much, and we appreciate you. As always, everybody, I'm your host, Darian, and this is Resist the Mainstream.
I'm the vice president of the College Democrats of Washington, but I love having debates with and learning from folks with whom I disagree. My question is about the corporate tax rate, and specifically the top marginal corporate tax rate. Why do you believe that increasing the top marginal corporate tax rate would stifle innovation and harm our economy?
Well, I mean, by definition, first of all, the government is already way too big and we shouldn't raise taxes as it is. I mean, we have a $6 trillion federal budget right now. But it depends on what you mean by a corporation. Do you mean Apple or do you mean your local laundromat?
Well, the top marginal corporate tax rate, so let's just say for large cap companies over $10 billion.
Fair enough, yeah. Because the way that the tax code is written is that you could form an S corp or a C corp or an L.
Did you guys see that?
Marginal corporate tax rate, so let's just say for large cap companies over $10 billion.
Fair enough, yeah. Because
What the hell just happened? Everyone's acting like nothing just happened right there. Anyways,
the tax code is written is that you could form an S corp or a C corp or an LLC and they get treated very similarly. But I mean, what is your question? Why do I think it will stifle innovation? Well, the more the government takes, then the less money the companies will have to actually invest in products for research and development. And I'm not a defender of corporations. In fact, I think corporations are doing a lot of damage to this country right now. So.
Yeah, but I would personally advocate for increasing it perhaps to double what it is right now at 21%.
Of course, you're a Democrat. You want more money that isn't yours.
No, because when you say that, like, increasing this tax rate will stifle innovation, the entrepreneurs themselves disagree with you. Bill Gates himself called this idea quote-unquote nonsense.
Yeah, it's easy for Bill Gates. He's worth $120 billion, so he can, jet around the world complaining about climate change and trying to get people to take vaccines they don't need. It doesn't affect him, right? Microsoft is worth $3 trillion. They're too big to fail. This is very simple.
Bill Gates also wants to make us all eat bugs as well as fake meat under this false pretense that somehow it's healthy or healthier or better for the environment, all these other stupid bullshit reasons. Seriously? Why does anybody listen to that guy? Just so annoying. Not to mention, he has deep ties with Anthony Fauci, who I don't think I need to make any comments about Dr. Fauci, all right? We've talked enough about that guy. We all know who he is and what he wants. Yeah, Bill Gates says it. You know what? I want to do the opposite as far as I'm concerned. You know what? Cut the tax rate. If Bill Gates is saying double it, cut it in half. It's kind of how I see it.
All taxes ultimately do this. They forcibly take money away from an efficient part of our country and they transfer it to an inefficient, bloated, corrupt part of our country. The government, it's that simple. So it's not that we should have zero taxes, it's that you're calling for doubling, which is to take more money from a efficient part of the economy towards a bloated federal government that is already spending $6 trillion a year, the biggest the government has ever been.
I mean, I would push back on the idea that it is an efficient part of the economy. Look at, for example, Microsoft and Apple. Both of these companies have over $150 billion in cash on hand, not cash that is being used for R&D, cash that is just sitting in bank accounts. And I would like to point out that these two companies, the two most valuable companies in the world, were founded while the corporate tax rates were significantly higher than they are right now. So of course now, like, they're massive behemoths, it doesn't affect them. But when these companies were getting started, like, the corporate tax rates were incredibly high.
Because it didn't impact them, because they were getting started. It didn't impact them, they were getting started, like you said.
No, but even when they, after they got started. And
hold on, let's play this out, because they
It was at this moment he knew he messed up.
weren't turning a profit for the first 30 years. Like, learn something about Microsoft's history.
No.
Hold on a second. They didn't pay any taxes for 20 years. No corporation worth any salt or an accountant that knows what they're doing is not going to pay any taxes for 20 years. Why? You're going to intentionally show losses to not pay taxes. Taxes by definition are only going to be on profits. So Apple and Microsoft, being very nifty, they said, we're just going to keep on showing deficits and showing losses, therefore evading all corporate taxes for 20 years. And where do they get their money? By boosting the stock price, by going through an IPO, an initial public offering, and then eventually going on the public market and boosting their valuation by showing losses, but their valuation is actually much greater than the quote unquote profit. Does that make sense? The profit margin.
You know who else is not without scandal? Joe Biden. And his economy is insanely scandalous. Guys, I am tired of this inflation, and that is why I have decided to invest in gold, and you should too. So check it out, guys. I've partnered with Goldco. You can go to rtmgold.com. You can click the link in the description or type in your web browser to learn more. You can roll over your IRA or 401k, penalty and tax free. Yes, you heard that right. Penalty and tax free. And you can even get a free gold kit to help you make this decision, because we know it's a big one. So check it out, everybody. Go to rtmgold.com. You can click the link in the description or type in your web browser. Once again, that is rtmgold.com.
So the argument doesn't
No,
hit.
but when you look at the profit margins, Microsoft was an incredibly profitable company even within 15 years.
They are now, obviously.
No. Even at the beginning, software is the biggest money printer in the history of the world.
They weren't profitable. That's the point, is that they spent more than they brought in. They had good revenue. You know the difference in revenue and profit, obviously.
No, yeah.
Okay, yeah, but these companies intentionally did not turn a profit for the first couple decades. They'd be silly to do that.
No.
It's a very common strategy. You see Amazon doing very similar things, and look how gigantic, bloated, and just domineering that company is. Tucker Carlson has pointed that out on his show many a time. And fun fact, Amazon pays $0 a year in federal taxes. Isn't that incredible? A company that big, that profited, making just billions more when an outbreak happened after a certain virus in March of 2020. Wasn't that convenient for them? Guess who owns the Washington Post? Jeff Bezos. Anyways, point is, these mega corporations, I actually do kind of see a point that this kid is making, to be a little sympathetic to him. I agree that these mega corporations need to get taxed and taken care of. I think he kind of detracts from his point when he brings up Bill Gates and uses him as some kind of credible source, because he's not. But the point about big corporations not really paying enough, yeah, I kind of agree. They helped contribute to crushing small businesses during the COVID lockdowns of 2020. And I see no reason why we should take the wealth back from them, frankly. Call me a socialist, call me a commie. I don't care. At the end of the day, I think too many right-wingers are slaves to the free market ideology, and that is a huge mistake.
They were profitable. That's my point. They had a price-to-earnings ratio. Microsoft in the 80s and the 90s was a profitable company.
No, I understand, but the point being is that these startup companies, I'd have to go all the way back into the business literature of every single year, they intentionally, just using as an example, their stock as leverage to not actually post earnings. So if you want to tax revenue, that's a separate issue, right? Because a lot of these companies aren't
profit,
even...
Yeah. Not revenue, profit, yeah.
Okay, that's a separate issue. But again, we have a difference of opinion here. I don't want to give the government any more of our money, and you do. And so we just disagree.
Okay. Thank you, Charlie.
Thank you.
Well, everybody, that wraps up our video for today. What did y'all think? I personally enjoyed the discussion. I found it a little interesting. Charlie Kirk held his own well, and that kid, while he got kind of owned, he did make some good points. So kudos to him as well. With all that being said, please be sure to comment below. Let us know what you liked about the clip, what kind of stuff you want to see in the future, and we'll see everybody again soon. God bless.